Hi folks, want to do a short video today to give you a special announcement and kind of go over a few things I touched on last week, and I feel I have a little bit more to say. Don't worry, my Expanded Universe review is coming back next week, stronger than ever. But I do have a special announcement. This week it was presented to me the covers for the Star Wars Essay Anthologies, and so I wanted to share those covers to you and talk a little bit about the upcoming books. The first one, as you know, deals strictly with the movies. So if you're a fan of the movies there, that would be the book for you. Now, I've read an excerpt from it, and it seems interesting. And so, yeah, I think Star Wars fans in general will appreciate that book. Now, the next two just get even more interesting because they focus on the expanded universe, something that's, of course, near and dear to my heart. So the second one is based off of the comic books, okay? It's strictly about Star Wars comics. We're talking old Marvel and we're talking Dark Horse. None of the Disney content, just old EU Legends canon stuff. And I'll be honest, I have read one of the stories from that book. And not only did it blow me away, but it schooled me on my knowledge of the comic books. Yes, Mr. EU learned a lot of something he did not know of. I'm telling you, I can't get over how shocked I was at this. That in fact, there were just stuff out there that I didn't even know about. I mean, I have it now, but I found out about it because of this article. I can't wait for this book to come out. I'm not even part of this book, but I want to buy this book because it is going to be amazing. If you love the Star Wars comic books, this is the book for you, and I highly recommend it. Now, the third one, of course, I'm going to highly recommend it, right? It's the one I helped contribute to. It's Exploring the Expanded Universe. I think it's called A More Civilized Age, is the title. But I can't wait for you to read it. I think it's going to be great. I can't tell you about what all is in it, but I can tell you a lot of the stuff is awesome. And how awesome is it that Timothy Zahn's name is listed as a contributor too? Timothy Zahn and I are working on the same project. I'm telling you, this is just a knockout lineup here they have of authors and great subjects. Not to brag, but I think this is the best article I have ever written. I'm most proud of this article than anything else I've written. I've written stuff after that too and posted up about the EU movement, but this article that I wrote for them, it got accepted, it's going to be in the book. Rich says right now it may be toward the end of the book, maybe the last story in the book, which would be awesome. I'd love that. But I think it's really going to spread our voice in the EU movement and what we're all about. I am very proud of this. I think you'll love it too. I know you'll love it actually. These books, the first one's coming out this year. The next two are coming out next year. We don't have dates yet, but when we do, I will definitely update you on when those dates will be. But I am super excited to see the covers. But let's go back to what I talked about last week, about letting our voice be heard. I really am serious about everyone participating in RAISE, the letter writing campaign, and other things that let our voice be heard. But here's the thing, don't work on things that don't expand our voice and spread our movement and grow our movement. I have heard some bad ideas recently that are not well thought out. They're being secretive about it, which makes no sense. It's not benefiting the movement or giving us notoriety. It's just becoming a jumbled mess. I can't support those movements. I can't. I want something that lets our voice be heard. If you have a great idea, great. Raise the suggestion with the other groups too. Get them involved in it. Don't make it your own secret cabal and everything. That just makes no sense to me. How does that help our movement? I'm telling you to let our voice be heard. There are tens of thousands of people out there who love the expanded universe and have no idea that we are out there. Case in point, a month ago, I was at Gen Con and I sat down with someone and was talking to him, and lo and behold, right there on his backpack was a Star Wars Legends novel. It was Revan. And I went, "Oh, you read Star Wars books, huh?" And he kind of said, "Oh yeah, I'm kind of a Star Wars nerd." I went, "Yeah." I said, "You're reading something with a Legends banner on it, I see." He went, "Oh yeah." And then he proceeded to tell me what the EU was all about and what had happened to it recently. He was telling me about what had happened to the EU. He didn't even know who I was. Okay, not that I'm a big name, but still. he didn't know that there were other people out there who loved the expanded universe just as him. In fact, when I told him there was a movement out there, and I told him that there was people trying to get the EU continued, he was blown away. He's like, well, where are these people? I never heard of them. Where can I join? And thankfully, I have some business cards that I hand out at any of the conventions I go to. You should make some business cards too. They're very cheap. If you need help, maybe I can help you design some. Put your Facebook groups page on here. Put my YouTube channel if you want to. You have my permission, that's fine. But I have some Facebook groups on here and stuff like that, and my channel, and I just give them these out and let them know where to go. But you know what, folks? It got me thinking. There's tons of people out there that have no idea we exist, and they love the EU just as much. But, you know, after the announcement, they heard all the hubbub about it, and then it died down, and there's really nothing coming out. And I mean, I was speaking out, but I didn't have that many followers back then. So they don't even know that we're out there. And so they're just sitting around thinking, oh, well, that's it. Now, hopefully, they're part of the movement. Hopefully, they're watching this video. Hello. I actually passed out to about 10 people there at Gen Con. Not bad for a board game convention that really doesn't have much to do about Star Wars. But I'm just telling you, we need to go out there and let our voice be heard. Not only to Lucasfilm, I'm talking about to others, to the fans. Because if our numbers aren't growing, what are we going to do? How can we change Disney's opinion of continuing the Legends universe unless we grow? And that comes from speaking, putting your voice out there, doing the Rebel Raids, doing the letter writing, doing things that get us noticed in a positive light. Those are the things that matter. Why aren't we doing those? We need to all, and I'm talking to myself here, work harder at spreading the movement and letting people know about us and who we are. By the way, I'm trying to work on a little pet project of my own. If I have any web developers out there, leave a message in the comments. I may want to speak to you. All right, so let's get into another topic here. Let's talk about George Lucas, all right? I used to do these Defending the Expanded Universe videos a long time ago, and some of you say, oh, I missed those, Matt. Well, it's just because I don't have anything new to say. If I don't have anything new to say, I'm not going to sit here and repeat myself over and over and over again. But voila, I have more interesting things to say, and it happens to be with George Lucas and the canon. And people talk about this all the time. Say, Matt, I hate that people say it was never considered canon. Well, I do too, because it was considered canon. I've given several quotes from Lucasfilm stating that it was canon. And for some reason, you know, the haters out there, they don't want to admit that it was canon. They say, no, it was whatever George thought. Well, have you noticed that now they're saying the exact opposite? Because it's whatever Lucasfilm says. Whatever Lucasfilm calls it canon. Even though George says that's not part of my story. Well, now George doesn't matter. They kind of flip the whole argument on its ear right now. It doesn't make any sense. But let me tell you something. It's always been approved by George. Just recently, one of my friends, Dylan, showed me that in his paperback version of Vector Prime, it says story approved by George Lucas. Has a little excerpt in there before the first chapter. Mine doesn't have that because it's in the hardback form, but his does say that in paperback. If you have a paperback, go ahead and look it up. It says that. I'll guarantee you this, none of the Disney's canon books have that because they can't say that because they're veering off from George's vision. Remember in that Stephen Colbert interview that was given, there's a clip playing around YouTube recently, but it's been up there for most of the year. He actually states where they're not using his script ideas. His ideas followed more along the line of the books with going into Han and Leia and Luke's kids. And yeah, it doesn't surprise me that the books are following George's vision. The old expanded universe was. George was always a big fan of serials, you know, whether it be TV serials, the comic books or books. Everything came in these to be continued series. George was raised on that, so he's used to having continuity. Now this whole thing about, well, there's my story, then there's Lucasfilm stuff, then there's the fan stuff. Yeah, everyone says, oh, that's the quote where he says it never considered canon. No, George never used the word canon. In fact, he just said, this is my story, this is their story, and this is the fan story. And that's how he put them into those three groups. Guess what? Anyone can put it into those three groups. Timothy Zahn, this is my story, these books I wrote, this is the story that everyone else did, and this is the fan stuff. Kevin J. Anderson, this is my books, this is what everyone else did, this is the fan stuff. John Ostrander, these are my comic books, this is what everyone else did, this is the fan stuff. We can go over and over again. Yes, So George said that. Everyone can say that. Everyone's contributed to Star Wars. But where does it all plug in? Where is the hub? That would be the overall overlapping canon, correct? Yeah. So it's always been there. So he said that shouldn't really matter. All right, folks. Well, that's all the time I have for today. I will see you next week, and we will continue our journey through the expanded universe. I'll see you then.